vitamins and nutrients in chocolate, antioxidants, and you can go on. It is clear that it is a matter again of balance. And balance comes with understanding again. And that's why we do in our chocolate dimensions first portionability, so that you don't have the whole tablet in front of you, you can have a small one. We have Kit Kat, 4 fingers, we have 2 fingers. So you don't have. So again, it is really educating the game. We have ice cream.
Yes.
Now you can say ice cream. And I always use the example, if you give an ice cream to a kid on Sunday and you see the sunshine in his eyes, cannot be bad. But then again, a company like ours, we can use our research and development to develop an ice cream that gives you even more enjoyment, better in taste, pleasure again, yet with half the fat and 1/3 less calories. We have an ice cream like that, the slow churn ice cream that we have in the United States and in other parts of the world is just an example of that. And then talk about portion. Don't make it too big, so that and these are the, I feel that much more responsible as a company than saying whatever may have a little bit of a shine of not so nutrition, we get out of it. People are going to continue eating ice cream. But it is a company like ours can put in resources to really find out how we can do that with more cookies and less calories and making that part of a healthy diet. That is much more responsible. I do believe that the obesity problem, it's a big one, it's a big problem, that it is a combination of things. It's not just banning some food. It is a combination of portionability, responsibility, using technology to reduce calorie content, education. All that is going to help to really keep that balance back.
All the people who work with Nestlé know how important the R&D is for Nestlé and how important it is to find the right product and to make sure that it is healthy, etc. I would like to move to marketing. How much do you trust marketing?
Oh, you want to know where it is?
I know the answer, but I'm not sure that all the people in the room know the answer.
We are a marketing company. It's our livelihood. It's our DNA. Ever since, just think about the Nest. 145 years old. That was the first expression of marketing in Nestlé. Nestlé is a name. This comes from Heinrich Nestle. Nestle is German, small nest. He said, well, Nestle, the French-speaking part of Switzerland, hasn't the same meaning of what it had in my home country, but a nest can symbolize that. And he wanted to transmit, his first product was a milk cereal that actually saved the life of a child. Actually saved a nest and a mother feeding. That is a symbol. That was marketing. So we have, ever since, been part and working with marketing, because at the end of the day, we are living. Nestlé is existing because there is trust. There's a trust relationship. As I mentioned before, 1.2 billion times a consumer buys our product. That is 1.2 billion times a trust relationship reconfirmed. Trust building is linked with connecting. We connect with information, connect with arguments, connect with emotions, and that is what marketing does. Marketing creates that bridge towards the consumer to create that, hopefully, honest relationship. That is trust building, and that brings then back the dynamics towards your brand. So marketing is just what we are.
So we move now from marketing to advertising, which I think is a natural segue. And you are in Cannes, and we know that all the creative people on earth would love to go very far with Nestlé. I'm not speaking only about our creative people, the Publicis Groupe, but all the advertising agencies, because they all believe that we can go much farther. First, what is your own judgment on the kind of advertising that you are, and creativity that you are having, and how would you define the limit of creativity for the Nestlé product?
Unlimited. Creativity is unlimited. I mean, but it should serve a purpose. And what is the purpose? The purpose is, again, go back to that trust relationship, and you have a product or a brand, and we have a certain structure in Nestlé how we go about that. And there's some discipline there. when you say discipline and then you start creativity, maybe. No, there is a need for purpose. And the purpose is, first of all, the brand essence. What is the brand or the product standing for? That is the purpose. What is the bridge that we want to make with the consumer? On what basis that relationship should be built? That is, and then around this essence, you build it has to be a big idea. We call it a big idea, you know that. And the big idea is actually that differentiate, simple thing. It should be simple. Big ideas are always very simple, but they're well thought through, and they should serve that purpose. And then the creativity is then how we translate it into language, visual or audio, towards the consumer in a broader context of global communication. But that's the dimension of what creativity should do. So the only limitation of creativity, in my eyes, is should serve the purpose. Translate it into a big idea of the essence of a brand. And that's it. So I don't see it. If I would say no, creativity is limited to, that doesn't make sense, because it is the creativity that brings that spark, that differentiation, that cutting through the clutter, as I say. And there's a lot of clutter now, more than in the past, and every year more. So you better have, first of all, a good definition of your essence, a good finding of the big idea, and then a very creative way of going about that.
When you look at the, I don't know how many hundred campaigns that you have every year, what are the 2 or 3 that come to your mind and say, that's it?
Well, we have quite
That's not necessarily from Publicis. We can accept that it can come from.
But I like the Deutsche Whistle.
Good. Thank you.
And it is working well.
Which, by the way, is useful.
But it was a good one. The music, everything. It was again serving the purpose. It was something new, younger, and there you go. I like very much the Perrier one. This ultimate refreshment when really things turn hot. But it's just good. People retain it, but it is sending a message. It's part of it is a good execution behind the big idea. So again, it plays well with these dynamics. Talking about our products also, the whole campaign, but that's an overused one, is Nespresso, which is a nice one, that it has brought us quite a lot. So, but then you go to smaller, less visible ones, but the juicy chicken, you know, this whole campaign, you like that one too. It's very good, the product is good, so there's a good, I would say, working together, communication with the product, the promise and so on, so quite a few.
And if you go beyond the world of Nestlé, what are the kind of campaign advertisements that you really like or admire? You say, this is the kind of thing I would like.
One too, but L'Oréal is a good one.
Yeah.
So many years, consistently messaging and yet always renewed and refreshed. That's what I like about campaigns too, that they really stand the time. That is something that we are long-term thinking company, so we like campaigns that are refreshed, yet at the same time they handle the same nail.
As we are on the campaign, in your long tenure at Nestlé, is there any campaign that you have refused because of any kind of reason, and then you say, I should have accepted it?
No.
No regret.
I can't. No regret, because I didn't know if it would have been successful. So, no. If I would say yes, this one and this one, I wouldn't. Would not be fair. I didn't give it a chance at the time, so I turned the page. It's over. Let's go forward. That's pretentious, but that's the way it is.
Okay. As we are turning the page, maybe we will turn to the audience and give a chance to a few questions. So if you can have the light in the room, and people would like to put a question. Si on peut avoir de la lumière dans la salle, et on va demander à l'audience de poser des questions. Vous entendez derrière, là, les techniques? Merci. Oui, la technique suit, voilà. Merci. So, we turn to you if anyone in the room has a question, otherwise we will continue. So please, you, the one who would like to put any question, it's open. Yes.
Sorry, microphone, please.
You will have a micro.
Good afternoon. I'm from Brazil. I'd like to ask you, how do you see the importance of packaging as a marketing and advertisement tool, or even to add value to Nestlé products?
Como está? Tudo bem?
Tudo bem.
Tudo bem.
Now, packaging is the first communication tool that you have. It's actually the first expression of the personality of a product too, the first contact that you have. So, in my eyes, it's very, very important. And yet, sometimes you're totally right. We don't use it as it could be used. It is not only protection, but we have for so many years, I think, really put quite a lot of focus on packaging. Not only the appeal, but also the communication tool. And you'll see the branding, how we use branding on the packaging. The appetite appeal to a certain extent, but also the information that you get, connecting in a more meaningful way. At the end of the day, food is serious. And we spoke about education, we spoke about transparency. Well, the packaging is the best way to really connect on a rational base also with the consumer. And so for us it's extremely important.
Okay. Next.
Hello, I'm Salvatore Savona from Italy, I'm a journalist. I would like to know what's the importance of digital in the choices in terms of investment in the present, which are your plans as for the future?
Digital, I hear that. Digital is all over the place. Also this year, last year already, but this year really exceptionally. And it is, we are involved there. I think something like 10% we are engaged already in digital and building up capabilities. It is clear that digital is also a world that you have to really see through the clutter. There's so much about digital. Yet there are certain dimensions, not only companies, but dimensions that are profiling. And now, very clearly that we're going to have to engage. We are engaged quite heavily already with many brands and many markets. If you would ask, for example, KitKat is a very good example. It's a big one. But we have others. Perrier is now with a whole dimension again of digital. So we are accelerating going after it. Sometimes Nestlé, to a certain extent, is a little bit cautious to jump in all pools because it is easy. We shoot that here and there, but when you manage a portfolio, and we are a decentralized company to start with, we are really decentralized company. We leave many decisions in the markets, which is the right thing to do because food is local. We have many brands. Yet, at the same time, you have to leave that freedom into the markets, and we have many engagement digital. And yet, you have to see that as a company globally, what is the connection with digital as a company? And it should not be only by adding all the smaller initiatives. What is the commitment of Nestlé? And I do believe we are really engaging there heavily. Think just about, again, food. Food is not only emotional, it is linking up with recipes, it is linking up with consultants, so people can ask questions, how do I do this and that? And actually we have already things like Koch Studio in Germany that is driven quite importantly, more importantly with more and more digital, because it allows you to really connect a permanent dialogue in a much easier way than before. Before it was a phone call, second phone call. Now you can be permanently into the rooms of consumers. I mentioned Koch Studio, which is the Maggie brand culinary, where we actually can, we have kitchens and we cook with products and we webcast them permanently online in vivo. So these are all the things that we can use, and we can connect also the kitchen of the people now with the webcams you have. So that starts to be something that is really, I would say, instrumental to us for the future.
Next one. Yes.
We have
Somebody else?
Hi.
We have the microphone.
Here.
Where are you?
Here.
Okay.
Hi, I'm from
Okay, I see you. I see you. We're in the dark. Okay, I see you.
Yeah. Like Nestlé, a global big brand has their own global strategy, but every country has a different situation. So I want to ask how you can make the balance between a global brand strategy and a local brand strategy.
Okay.
One little phrase can answer that, I explain it later. There's global inspiration, local execution. And let me explain that. For example, you have brands like Nescafé or brands like Dolce Gusto or Nespresso. But what you have is a global, again, I go back to this global brand essence and what the brand stands for. That is a global dimension that we have. Yet at the same time, we are very decentralized. The execution of that essence and how we link up and how it is done very local. And that's why we have a structure where we have people that are on level to take these decisions. I said that food is local. Nescafé is a global brand. You know how many blends we have? Blends is different profiles of flavor. Of Nescafé is 180. That's a lot of differentiation, yet it is the same experience of relaxing moment with an invigorating moment with Nescafé. So it's global inspiration, yet local execution. And what you have to have then is this discipline of aligning local actions in that global strategy. That's how it works. And I must say that is a strength. The world is global, yes, but the consumer, and especially the food consumer, is a very local relationship. And that's also, we have global brands, yet we have also local brands. And then these brands are owned, actually brands are owned by the consumer anyhow. But we have 6,000 brands worldwide. You say, Jesus, that's a lot. But we have close to 30 brands that are doing together. Only 30 brands are doing 3/4 of our sales. So we do have big brands focused and global inspiration. Yet on top of that, we have many, many regional and local brands. And then it's people locally caring about these brands because they're owned by the local people. And that's how we work. So again, we are an and company. It is global brands, yet local brands too.
Before I give you the microphone, I would like to pick on what you have said because I think it's something which is extremely important, particularly in the world of digital. We have seen some reaction of consumers regarding brands or how they have, for example, reacted to the change of logo of Gap, where they stopped the change because they were considering that the company should not do that. They didn't like it and they said, no, you should not do it. I believe very strongly that the brand is no longer owned by Nestlé, P&G, etc. At the best, it is co-owned between the corporation and the consumer, but the vast majority of ownership goes to the consumer. And this is what you mentioned. Can you elaborate a little bit on this? Because I have sometimes heard some advertising people saying this, but very few advertisers recognizing that the brand is co-owned. And you are the very first that I'm hearing publicly to say it's owned by the consumer.
Well, if I would have,
I'm not speaking about bookkeeping.
No, I understand, but if we could get to a point that the consumer really feels he owns the brand, that would be really super. Because whatever then somebody attacks the brand, they would defend the brand actually more than we should do or would do as a company. I spoke about trust. You trust always more what you own, what you feel is mine. And that's why then sometimes they're very close to that brand. It's really an extreme. I mean, if you could get that ownership, then really you got the marketing put through to its extremes. And then if you then, as a company, start to change position, start to change certain things, and you see that, and we have digital media and social media, you get more and more of that feedback straight away. sometimes we must have done certain things that people felt you're touching something from my brand. Now we know it straight away, so you should be very sensitive to that and open to that. But that way, I would love that. If everybody would say, don't touch my brand. And there's enough answers to give to create growth in the line of what the brand stands for. But that's again the importance of loyalty towards your own brand essence again. That you don't mingle around every day. Because at the end of the day, brands are certain dimensions in people's life to make choices easier. Somebody said that once. It is true. And if you start mingling around, you start to confuse them, and the world is already confusing them. So we shouldn't do that.
We move to first row.
I want to go back to the place where you said that food should, you had 3 points, pleasure, knowledge, and balance. And I think that's an issue for the whole industry nowadays, because you have a part of the world that needs nutrition and the other part that needs less nutrition. And I'm also from Brazil, and in Brazil authorities now tend to point a finger into the food industry, saying that you play a major role in the health problems and so on and so on. I'd like to know how you see it.
Well, first of all, I don't believe you can just point your finger to one thing.
No, not Nestlé, but
No.
the whole food industry, sure.
But I'm answering as an industry, saying that the industry is, as I said, there is no unhealthy products per se. There's unhealthy diets. And I don't believe that it helps us forward to point one dimension, the industry, to it. There should be responsibility. That's why we define also nutritional fundamentals with these 3 things. And then we should go and organize ourselves around that and do that as a company, do that as a part of an industry. And then it is linked with education. And their government should play too. And it is linked with balance. It is linked with using R&D and science and understanding into your own products and give offerings that allow the choice, small formats and so on. So it is again a holistic dimension, and in many areas in Brazil we're working very heavily with the government. We have the Healthy Kids program in Brazil that is just doing that together with governments, working educating children and kids to go about their own diets and healthy diets. It is clear that we have a double burden, it's called. It's not only that some have too many calories, others don't. You see the obesity going up dramatically in the developing markets. Why? Because people start to have more caloric diets. Because they have more, or they go to certain dimensions of their diet that are more caloric dense. So there again, there's more holistic going about it. And as an industry, we can and we should be part of it. That's why we have our also in advertising committed ourselves as an industry to go honestly about that. But I do feel it is a little bit too easy for governments also, the policymakers, to say, well, we have a problem at hand here, let's just say, and we're going to tax every calorie of that. That, in my eyes, is not honest, it's not fair. Not fair towards industry is one thing, it's not fair towards the public and the broader dimension of the population. And that's where we are engaged with, and more so. So you have some finger pointing, but in general, there's awareness of we have to go holistically about that. And that's what we try to do. We are a long-term thinking company. We're not trying to just fool around and hit and run. We don't want to hit and run. We want to be there, part of society at large. And actually, that is how we link up with society. And in our area, it is R&D, understanding more, seeing solutions for it. It is educating and transparent information. It is portionability. It is all these dimensions together. It is also, if we have chocolate, stay in chocolate, but do it meaningfully and responsibly. And not just getting rid of it and leaving it to others to do whatever they want to do. It is much more difficult to be responsible having a portfolio like we have and going about it in that way, linking up with society at large and more meaningful.
Thank you. Next, is there any other? Yes.
Hi, I'm Julia, actually in Lausanne, Switzerland, not so far away from the industry. Was wondering if you could speak a bit about the process that you have created for enabling creativity and innovation within the company.
Oh, that's a huge question. How do you, actually what you ask is, you're a big company, and in normally big companies you have a little bit of a framing because of the size that may asphyxiate creativity, and you get administration, procedures, processes. How can you maintain the freshness of entrepreneurship and creativity in a company? I think that's more or less the question. And first of all, by being very decentralized, you put decision making as close as possible where the consumer is. So you have indeed already a dimension in your company that makes and gives decision making very close where actually the reality is. And that should be a first base of allowing entrepreneurship. We could have another structure saying we're going to do it all centrally. We're going to do it all on the Lake of Geneva, the big headquarter, and decide everything. Well, then what you do is actually conditioning the creativity to one spot, one place, and you kill the freshness of many ideas, many resources of creativity that are so spread out in the market. And what is creativity? Creativity is linking the world up in different ways. It's not doing something that doesn't exist. It's rewiring. And if you rewire only in one place, it's a very narrow shoe of creativity. We are very decentralized. Secondly, there's also, yes indeed, inducing more than entrepreneurship. Outward looking, not inward looking. And that is what we're trying to do also is frontline. Really having all that is linked with consumers, with the market, etc., should be outward looking. Should have the nervousness and alertness of what competition does, what the other guy is doing, what the consumer wants to do. Sometimes if you don't have a good split in a company of what I call the supportive, efficient backline, and the front line, that should be marketing-driven, inspiring, creative, fast-moving, alert. If you don't have good that split, then you start to have a inward-looking company, and it's very dangerous. I must say also, we try to challenge ourselves permanently. So we are really looking and matching and comparing. We don't call it benchmarking, because benchmarking actually what it does is you neutralize your company to the average, because you benchmark and you want to go to the bench, and at the end of the day you neutralize everything, the lowest common denominator. What we try to do is actually gap creating, always creating small gaps everywhere, in every part of the value chain, and everybody is responsible in his own area to create these gaps, little gaps. But by adding them up, you really have a very competitive advantage. So, and when you're successful, another part of what you have to watch out, when you're successful, success is the worst there is, because you don't learn from it, it makes you asleep. So the complacency is a dangerous thing. And again, challenge that permanently and give the ownership of success, not only to a few people in the company, give the ownership of success to the 280,000 people that we are. That sparks into entrepreneurship and creativity.
As we are coming to an end, I would like to say two things. I don't want to make you blushing, Paul, but we know each other since now quite a few years. It is just incredible to see how you have been able to move this company so fast as a new CEO and to continue to grow it and to keep very lively the passion. And if there is something that I very much like working for Nestlé and with the Nestlé people everywhere, is this lively passion for what you do. And we find this in every single country, with all the teams, everywhere. There is a passion which is really motivating for all our creative people. Tomorrow you are still here. Are you going to see the shortlist? Are you going to see? So tell us.
I'm going. I'm staying. You know that I'm here after so many years not coming.
Okay, so we know that you will be.